What would happen if you could stop worrying so much about what your team was doing all day and instead focus in on what you're supposed to be doing to move your business forward? Sounds like a dream, but right now you're living the nightmare of having to overcoach, over-handhold, and over-check in on your team's work. Let's put an end to that and instead roll out super clear 5-hour work plans, drum beats, and more of my signature tools that drive accountability and self-sufficiency deep into your team. All you have to do is join a Leadership Lab program, and I'll help you turn your team troubles into triumphs. You'll be learning and growing alongside some peers that will become valuable business friends. So why not go beyond this podcast and join us? It could be the smartest thing you do this year. Book a call with me and see what program would best fit you over at the website, stackingyourteam.com/programs. Hello, leader. It's episode 300. Ta-da! Shazam! Whoop, whoop! Cue the confetti. Heck yeah! So what are we going to be doing on episode 300? Well, I've got a lot to tell you. It's going to be a bit different than normal, a bit of a tell-all, because it's been a heck of a year, and I'm going to share a rundown on what happened in the business, what's happening now, why do I look and sound so different, and what's going to happen in 2024. Welcome to the Stacking Your Team podcast. Thanks for tuning in and following your curiosity to learn and honor your personal conviction to be the best leader you can be. On this podcast, you won't hear a bunch of theories presented by academics who haven't been in a workplace in years or ever, and you'll not hear from executives who are flush with capital, people, and pool tables in their cafeteria telling you how to build team culture. Nope. Why? Because you are a small business owner and you've built something great out of nothing. And through it all, you've learned that you need a team, but not just any team. I'm your host, Shelli Warren. I've led winning teams in retail, innovative technical teams at a Fortune 50 corporation for decades, not-for-profit boards, and in online business, and helped many remote teams win at work. And I can tell you that no one escapes team troubles, including me. These days, I'm the CEO of Stacking Your Team, where I teach and develop tools for small business owners so they can attract, retain, and develop their teams so the founder can step out of her day-to-day operation. I'm so happy you're here because we all know that the people side of running your business is often the most difficult, and the team that got you here may not be the team that gets you there. So come on, let's jump in to today's episode. Before we start, I want to give all of you a big virtual hug and a big thank you. It's been 6 years of coming to your earbuds every Tuesday with over 500,000 downloads and so many wonderful clients featured along with solo episodes to teach you something that you can easily apply directly into your small business to help you lead your team really well. Now, I'm not one to chase downloads, but I do notice who's listening, and my top audiences hail from the US, Australia, Canada, followed by the UK. It's fascinating to me that people all over the world are tuning in, even those countries where very few people are tuning in. I'm so happy that they found the podcast, and it reminds me that our world is definitely getting smaller. Now, you've likely noticed that I've been focusing on shorter episodes, albeit this one might be a bit longer. We will have to see how it ends. But I know that commuting has changed drastically, and I also know that everyone's attention span has shifted too. So shorter episodes are always appreciated. Now, I want to thank Tim Wahlberg, my editor, who's consistently helped me sound great on air for years. And if you are a podcaster, I encourage you to tune into his show called Just One Tip, where in less than 5 minutes, he shares one tip to help you grow your audience. He's a former radio guy from Canada with a great sense of humor. Tim knows what he's talking about, so check him out. I also want to give a big hug to Tiffany, who has single-handedly produced these episodes across all of the audio platforms, including our new YouTube channel and our new website every week, which, by the way, Tiffany built that website herself. She also automates my weekly newsletter that accompanies each episode and masters all of the tech required to make it all happen seamlessly. She gives me feedback with everything associated with the podcast and the business, for that matter, too. And I value her opinion so much. And a big thank you to Yane, who creates the graphics for each episode and takes my Google Docs and turns them into beautiful freebies available as downloads on the Stacking Your Team website. And who could forget the many clients who have joined me on air to share their entrepreneurial journey with us. We learn something from each other, and it feels wonderful to have more women's voices heard on this platform. Your transparency is so appreciated by your peers. You know, those other women who lead and who are tuning in each week. And to anyone who has left a rating and a review, thank you. You know, I'm that gal who leaves reviews religiously for shows that I love because I know how motivating it is to get one. It doesn't take any time at all to do it, but it does take action to follow through on. So thank you so much. I appreciate your loyalty and your kindness, and of course, your desire to keep learning how to refine your leadership skills. I'm thinking about showcasing more women who podcast this year. So if you are a podcaster and have an established business with a team, use the contact form on the website to introduce yourself. And lastly, a wave and a smile of gratitude to BizChicks, who first invited me to consider hosting a podcast way back when. And oh my gosh, I almost forgot. As a New Year's Day baby, I celebrated another big one a few weeks ago. It was one of those special ones. You see, I was born in 1962, and now I am 62. What a year. I'm sure it was a memorable one for you too. Now, even though I am a New Year's Day baby, yes, the only one for that year, I do not subscribe to setting resolutions. Nope. But I love a fresh new wall calendar where I can copy over drum beats and special dates to keep myself organized and also to give me things to look forward to. For a while now, I've chosen a word of the year, as many women in business do. And transition was my word of the year last year. And boy, oh boy, did that turn out to be correct. I'll tell you about it. But first, I have to tell you something. I have been procrastinating on putting this episode together because I'm actually a rather private person. I'd say work-wise, only Tiffany has ever known the most about me and what I'm thinking. And this past year, I've pushed myself to be more vulnerable with the members of the Leadership Lab as they put so much trust in me. But no joke, this episode feels uncomfortable to share. But I'm willing to do it because I know you too have gone through a lot, came out on the other side, and are better because of it. So you can relate. I also want this episode to stand as proof that I don't have all the answers. I'm a work in progress, and I'm willing to learn how to continue to evolve. So as I said earlier, we're going to talk about what happened, what's happening, what's going to happen. So let's break it into these three parts. What happened in the business? Why do I look and sound so different? And what can you and I expect for this year? Let's start with what happened in the business. I remember early in the year being in Nashville, hosting a retreat for a dozen Leadership Lab clients who traveled to spend 2 days with Tiffany and me as they worked to create a new business asset or eliminate a major constraint in their business. Everyone was so happy to see each other in real life, and we had just given them all their word of the year commemorated in a frame when one of them asked what my word of the year was, and without thinking, I said, transition, and then had to think fast as to how to explain it in such a way that didn't stir up any drama because it was obvious that they were wondering, what was I going to be transitioning through? Was it a divorce? Was I moving? Was I venturing off into some other direction? Now, I couldn't lie by throwing out some other word and then trying to fake it or backstep my way out of it. So I described transition as moving further into my 60s and further into a chapter of life where I was going to be leaning even further into teaching and mentorship. All very, very true. It was a few months later when I announced at one of our coaching calls that Stacking Your Team was going to become its own company. I was so nervous. Tiffany tried hard to pump me up with encouragement, but I was terrified that they'd not want to stay with me as a client if I was no longer associated with that U.S. brand. To my surprise, they were all delighted with it, and a few admitted that they were worried since Nashville that I was going to announce my retirement and they'd be stuck without their coach. Others declared it was just like Lizzo said, it's about damn time, and I was so relieved. Tiffany couldn't stop smiling, and my heart was pounding out of my chest. I was and still am so incredibly grateful to those women who responded so positively to the news, including those of you who are not a current client but reached out to me after I shared a short update on a special podcast way back in April. Truly, it meant the world to me. And for this brand new year, my word of the year is open, meaning open for business at a whole new level of revenue, open to meet and support more women who own a business, open to expand my footprint even further with big hopes to support more clients in Canada, and open to receive and grow with new perspectives through continual learning and new experiences. I'm also open to losing my confidence and then finding it again. And lately, that cycle seems never ending. It's been a great year of experimenting and doing more of what's working. Both strategies have some challenges, and it's been a learning process for sure. You see, for years, I had clients tell me a few things on repeat. And as I'm always open to feedback, I listened, took notes, and now it was my chance to take action on it. Here are those 4 most often asked questions by women who tune into the podcast and want more than what's available to them in their earbuds every week. The first one was, I want to work with you, but I have a small team and I don't think I can afford you yet. So we launched Leadership Lab 101 for those women who own a small business and are starting to build a team, but want to do it well from the start and have access to my signature tools and coaching. It began as a 4-month fast-track beta group program that was a mix of some of my signature tools and live coaching sessions in an intimate setting. It's been a game changer for the women who joined and who have now recently graduated, and it's no longer in beta form. It's a full-blown fast-track program now with new surprises just added to it. The second common comment is more of a common complaint. They tell me, I want to work with you. Why can't I start right now? This was easy to fix once Stacking Your Team was a standalone company. We did away with the launch, open cart, closing cart style of online enrollment sales tactics. And instead, you can join us anytime because when you know it's time, it's time. This solved the problem of business owners digging themselves deeper into team troubles and family troubles because they were continuing to work too many hours being the backstop for underperforming team members. It's a fact. Waiting for a specific enrollment period can be a constraint that can be hard to recover from because you're not getting the right level of support for many more months while you wait to join us. And the third most commonly asked question is this: I want to work with you, but can you work with my team too? Well, that was easy to remedy too, as I had incorporated team leader training inside the Leadership Lab program earlier. But we noticed former clients reaching out to enroll their leadership team members into the program and wanted them to be able to come to those quarterly live trainings with me. So naturally, that was a big yes. And now, even women who are not currently enrolled in a program with us are able to invest in their team members to get access to high quality and highly relatable training and coaching to elevate their leadership capabilities, all at a manageable price point. We have some definite rock stars in this program, and I love to acknowledge who is crushing this fantastic opportunity for their career development that was just gifted to them by their CEO. Our clients also were loving the opportunity for their team leaders to come along with them to strategy sessions and also have their own strategy sessions with me to help them with a project or a people challenge or simply to improve a work plan difficulty. And side note, personally, I love getting to know team members at a deeper level. I feel it's an advantage to know her business and the people who support it from a whole new angle. And working with one-to-one clients has also been something that I wholeheartedly returned to this past year, with even more lined up for this coming year. It's becoming common for one-to-one clients to boomerang back to me, or for a Leadership Lab client to either renew her program for another year, or some have decided to shift over to becoming a one-to-one client so we can double up on a specific tool or a business asset, or create a new level of retention for her to help stabilize her business even more. One of my one-to-one clients and I have been creating a brand new structure and a tool that will be launched at our Leadership Lab February retreat, where everyone will get to meet her and learn how the tool has helped her more easily entice her team to have a long-term career with her, while also easing the disruption and the distraction of new team members always asking for a promotion and gaining a new commitment from her more experienced team members. You see, it's all about stability while also being primed and ready for more growth. And the fourth one that I get a lot of is this: I want you to tell me what to say anytime I have a difficult conversation to have with my team. Can you do this? Well, you can guess where this is going. It's a regular thing to be asked inside our online community or on a group call to help a client out by suggesting to them what to say and how to say it when she has a sticky situation. Now, it's fun for me to riff on these, and everyone tries to write down what I just said, even though they know they get a replay of our calls. It's always been the plan to create a source of scripts, words, and phrases for my clients to easily grab so that she can sleep better at night knowing that she's prepared for a conversation tomorrow. Or she can tuck in at night knowing that she did a great job of facing a conversation that day. And then we thought, well, if we're going to be creating this source for our clients, let's create it for our podcast listeners too. And that's how the Ask Shelli script bundles were created. 2 bundles are now available on the website, with 2 more in the works. And I've also got a running list of more. After all, knowing what to say and how to say it is a life skill that is an advantage for anyone who is responsible to lead people. These scripts are practical, relatable in the world of small business, and designed to save you time and energy because you're not fretting anymore about what to say. So just like any business owner would do, I listened to the feedback I was getting. And now that Stacking Your Team is its own company, I'm able to rise up and take action on that feedback in a whole new way. Well, that's the update about what happened this past year in the business, and this is a great time to give a shout out to Karen and Katie of Mellow Brew Marketing right here in Canada, who helped Tiffany and I decide on what the new branding would look like. It's been great fun to shift the vibe of Stacking Your Team over into its own brand while still being true and staying in my lane of providing relevant team and leadership training and tools for small business owners that you've come to know and expect. So on to the next topic to share with you. Why do I look and sound so different? Any holistic doctor will tell you that the body is a mirror of what's going on inside of your head. The connection between mind and body is astounding. We still don't know everything about the magic of the mind-body-soul connection, but with each year that passes, we're learning more, and as mere humans, we have learned that if we pay attention to listen to our body, we can see the changes as they happen and either reinforce it or deny it by taking different action to feed, nurture, and care for our bodies and our minds. I was woefully dismissing the signs and symptoms that I was running on empty and something had to give. In the world of business, we often overlook the linkage between work and health until it's too late. I was feeling awful, inside and out. I didn't recognize who I had morphed into over the years. But the thing with being on camera, as much as I am, is it became glaringly obvious just how much my body was changing, and not in a good way. I was reviewing some training content that I had created and was shocked to see myself and immediately booked a doctor's appointment. The news was not what I had hoped for. I was 40 pounds overweight. I had incredibly high blood pressure. I was terribly dehydrated, so my body was hanging on to every ounce of water it had, often making me look puffy, and those bags under my eyes. Yikes! I was informed that I had raging type 2 diabetes, complete with nerve damage in my extremities. I was so mad at myself, ashamed really, about how I had sacrificed my health so terribly. Of course, this all led to some serious meds, including daily injections of insulin and drastic changes in my diet and a focus on cleansing my life of negativity, distractions, and anything that didn't serve me well. I'm now on regular calls with my diabetic clinic nurses and dietitians, and my doctor is amazed at my transformation. Thankfully, I'm off most of that stuff now, and I especially want off those high blood pressure meds. I actually have lunch every day now, and my joints don't ache, and I'm not winded at all on my daily walks at work to pick up soup from the cafe, or when I'm running around with Ellie or spotting her for her next gymnastics trick. So you could say I've gone through a makeover of sorts, both internally, mentally, and physically. It shows, which is why people who haven't seen me regularly always comment on how I look. I've also had clients and podcast listeners tell me that I sound different now too. I believe it. I found my voice and my confidence to say what I want to say, dive into topics that are important instead of skimming along the surface and playing it safe. I'm the size I used to be, and when I look in the mirror or replay a video, I recognize myself looking back. I've got some pretty tight boundaries now about who I spend time with, who I take on as a client, and who I follow online. I've gotten really good at protecting my mental health and not doing something just because it's hot right now and everyone is. And best of all, I am feeling so much better. A few things that I've added into my life that have helped me immensely to keep me on track are shutting down work at 3 p.m. regularly to do school pickup for Ellie. And then I care for her until mom or dad comes home from work. I feel so lucky to have this chance to get to know her little friends and the other parents and her teachers. I'm also taken on 2 local young professionals as one-to-one coaching clients here in my hometown. They visit my office every week where we dive into solving problems and refining their skills to enhance their careers. They're both in their very first big leadership role for a big organization, and it's super fun to support them. And recently, a friend and I launched a supper club where we personally invited a group of women to join in an informal but very impactful meal at a different locally owned restaurant to really round out the notion of women supporting women at a local level. This has been a blast because there's no expectations other than genuinely building new relationships with dynamic women who you might not have had the chance to know. It lights me up every time. I just love orchestrating these kinds of gatherings. This past year has confirmed for me that change is hard, and I'm learning that even for a seasoned leader like myself, I can wrestle with doubts. So being open to feel those emotions instead of shoving them down, literally shutting up, and then buffering with bad eating habits, workaholic tendencies, and expensive, but totally worth it, spa treatments as an escape is not the way to go. I'm now more open to facing these feelings that bubble up for me, even though it can be tough. I know I'm building my memory muscle for dealing with difficulty and overcoming it and actually ending up in a much better place than before. So that brings us to the last topic for this tell-all episode. What can you and I expect for this year? Let's start with this. I want to nudge you to keep an eye out for more awesome freebies that are coming your way from the website and more invitations to join me for live workshops online. At our upcoming in-person retreat in February, I'm excited to have my one-to-one clients come and join us too. And I'm getting ready to share a case study of a new structure and a tool that I developed out of a need from a specific one-to-one client who's getting her team ready for long-term career with her and an expansion, and she'll be there too. I love hosting events. It's something I learned back in my corporate career. Hosting events for 250 or more women at a time, well, it's enthralling, and yet at the same time, it's also very intriguing and worthwhile to host intimate events for women that I care deeply about. It's so wonderful to witness the respect that they have for each other at that level that continues to grow because they're committed to each other's success. So my goal is to do more of them. So get your passport ready, and you can count on me to continue to speak here on the podcast, on social media, and anywhere else that I may have been invited to, or any other opportunity that I create, because I'm addicted to these 3 topics: CEO leadership for the small business owner, developing team leaders, and how to support other women who own a small business. You'll also see my brand building and visibility take on a new level too. I'm working with Angie Trueblood of the Podwise Group to guest on other podcasts who have an audience that I can help with team and leadership insight for their small business. And I'm working with Natalie Finucane, a local connection of mine, for a few key visibility projects. And I can tell you, and I'm sure you're aware of this too, I'm ready to embrace what's working and letting go of what's not working. We've all got to purge our business, sometimes even our team members and clients, definitely our closets, our junk drawers in the kitchen and at the office, and even our connections in order to stay well and to keep evolving into the leaders that we are becoming. I see you are evolving too, and I'm thrilled that you hung in to the end of this episode. For real. It means the world to me that you'd be interested in this tell-all 2023 recap episode of sorts. So as we close out, I want to assure you that I'm not going anywhere other than wherever you decide to take me along with you as you listen and go about your day. And if you've ever found the podcast helpful, imagine what's available to you inside both of the Leadership Lab small group coaching programs. It's all there, waiting for you. And so am I. Leadership Lab 101 is a 4-month fast-track program for women who are building their team and want the proven foundational team leadership tools to help them get it right from the get-go. A recent graduate of this program said, "Thank you for offering this bite-sized Leadership Lab. It's been the best investment this year. The ROI has been tremendous with regards to my revenue, my time, and my clarity. I appreciate you offering 101 at a lower rate. It allows me to jump right in, and I appreciate learning from you." And if you have a team of 5 or more and want a leadership team to drive your daily operations so you don't have to, you'd love the popular Leadership Lab program. It's a 12-month investment where you get all of my signature tools, private and group coaching calls, and even in-person retreats to accelerate the people side of your business. Team performance is always on my mind, so I've got a program designed especially for teams to accelerate their effectiveness too. A client recently told me, the Leadership Lab has changed the way I am at work, the way I work at work, and the way other people work at work. Our competence is completely different. We have so much more organization, systems, processes, and better communication. If I went back 12 months, it would just feel unrecognizable. You can join either of the programs at any time. No need to get caught up in any big launch campaign, because when you know it's time to get quality help leading your team, it's the perfect time to join. Zip on over to stackingyourteam.com and see that I don't just coach you, I teach you. And yes, it's really me who steps into your business to help streamline your efforts so it's easier to be ready for more growth. You know, leadership can be exciting, challenging, and lonely at times. So don't go it alone. Let me help you create the team and the leadership structure that you've been craving. So until next time, remember, if you have a dream, you need a team. So let's get stacking yours today.